Ladies and gentlemen, $10,000 to the man that proves a single word of what I am about to say to you is not true. On the reverse of the $1 bill, when it is folded in this specific manner that you will see in less than 90 seconds, there is a perfect caricature of a skull and bones. And the right eye has 3 horizontal lines. The left eye has 3 horizontal lines. 2 of them are closer to one another. However, inside these 2 lines is also a pupil. 33. On the right side there are 3 lines. On the left side there are 3 lines dark. 33. On the inside 2 lines. On the inside 2 lines. 33 and 32. Now you know I'm not so smart, so I don't know what all of that means. But what I do know is that's on the reverse of the $1 bill, and the person that proves that this is not on the back of the $1 bill receives $10,000. Here is the caricature of the skull and bones on the reverse of the $1 bill, and I will unfold this for you in a moment. There it is. The same caricature that you see on the screen. When I invert it, it becomes an owl. The owl's wings are outstretched over the seed pods. $10,000 to prove me wrong. And now I'm going to invert it once again, show you the skull and bones once again. I'm going to back it off slowly, and I'm going to take the tape off of it, and I'm going to unfold the bill so that you can see that there is, in fact, a skull and bones, a bat that is known as the hog-nosed bat, with the skull and bones as its nose. That's why it's called the hog-nosed bat, because this skull and bones forms a nose, and this is a horned owl. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You would never think it, but my name is Michael Fazio. I have written a book with 3,000 depictions that I have discovered on the reverse and obverse of the $1 bill. The name of the book, you all know the name of the book, is Angels on the Ark by Michael Fazio. But what you didn't know is that I created a science to prove everything that I just said to you. And this science is the science of phasogamy. Because when you look at the end of a $1 bill, it looks like you've been looking at it since you were born. However, if you fold it slightly, it changes into what appears to be 2 faces, before and behind, which represent the 6-winged seraphim faces. It also turns into what appears to be a bullock or a calf. However, when phasogamy takes its place in history, phasogamy, by one simple fold of that same $1 bill, by changing the optical angles that the light rays hit and refract upon, the 2-plane pictograph becomes a 3-dimensional construct because of something known as non-Euclidean optics, which is way over most people's head. But any human being on earth that just heard the word non-Euclidean optics knows that what I just said is true, and this science exists. I am the discoverer of this non-Euclidean optics upon the reverse of the $1 bill that no human being in 1934 could have accomplished. Because even if they could replicate this pictograph, there are 3,000 others on the reverse of the $1 bill that they could not replicate by simple folding methodologies. However, moving past that, even if they could replicate everything you just saw before you on your screen, they couldn't put the words in this book 7,000 years ago, because this book and this pictography that you see on your screen before you, and that I have laid out in the volume of my book, this $1 bill, the plates for the $1 bill, the gravers that made the $1 bill, the people who wrote the Bible, the scribes that wrote the Bible, they did this 7,000 years ago. And I can prove every word of it when you read my book, ladies and gentlemen. Why do you think The Great Pyramid was placed upon the reverse of the $1 bill. I'll tell you why. The Great Pyramid was the original Ark of the Covenant. It was a bond between this energy that created this world, both physically and imaginarily. This Ark of the Covenant energy is represented by the Lord God in Christianity, Krishna, Muhammad, Buddha, and a myriad of other philosophical deities that existed throughout the entire universe, including the Arabic and Asian deities that are too numerous to mention. This deity represents everything that you see on the reverse of the $1 bill in pictographs. Everything it is responsible for on this planet was created by this deity that we call God. But it is more than God, ladies and gentlemen. It is a field of energy that has created everything in the known universe. And I say it was the original Ark of the Covenant because the Great Pyramid, being the original Ark of the Covenant, or bond between humanity and the spirits that appears before you on your screen, and that I have depicted word for word, detail for detail, iota for iota, minutia for minutia. Every single detail of the Ark of the Covenant is represented before you on your screen right now. The poles of shittim wood are the orange lines across the bottom. There are 4 ringlets that hold the poles of shittim wood where the Ark is carried. At the ends of the Ark of the Covenant set the 6th-winged seraphim, the oxen, the bullock. In the center of the Ark of the Covenant sits the chinka of the Lord God, the energy of the one true God of this universe. It is a representation, in this case, of Jesus Christ, because they utilized the Bible before they allowed computers to come back into existence once again, not be created for the first time. They allowed computers back into this plane of existence. These beings have been on this planet for tens of thousands of years. You people don't get it. They have controlled every aspect of society, through the political spectrum, through the religious spectrum. Why do you think the Vatican is riddled with Egyptian mythology? The government of the United States, the District of Columbia, riddled with Egyptian mythology. The Square Mile in Rome, riddled with Egyptian mythology. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the people who created the Ark of the Covenant, the real Ark of the Covenant that was given to Moses, the people or remnant society that in all likelihood is either from this world and millions of years old, or from another world and another galaxy and is millions of years old. This entity created everything that you see on the reverse of the $1 bill. There are thousands, literally thousands of what I call origami. Things I have discovered on the reverse of the $1 bill. The 6th-winged seraphim with faces before and behind. Look at the wings, folks. The bullock lashing its tongue on all 3 sides. That's how a bullock does it. The 2-dimensional construct where you see virtually nothing, and yet I can tell you it is the beginning and entrance into King Solomon's temple. The 6th-winged seraphim with a simple fold, you can see the 6th-winged seraphim. The original Ark of the Covenant that also represents the first 18 verses of the book of Genesis. Precisely, each and every verse in the book of Genesis is represented in this God pod. Every single detail in the God pod is represented in the book of Genesis, the first 17 verses. The heavens, the light of the Lord God, that let there be light. The Lord God itself, the waters that appeared, the landmass, the seeds, the herbs, the grass, the small fig trees on either side of the base of the Ark of the Covenant. Every detail of the book of Genesis is inside the God pod, just as every single detail of the book of Revelation is entwined inside this seed pod, where you see a representation of Satan itself, or Lucifer, and the nuclear detonation, which is the methodology in which this entity that created all of this is going to utilize to wipe mankind off the face of the earth. And just before this video ends, because I mentioned radiation and the methodology in which they are going to wipe us off the face of this earth, I want to thank Kevin Blanche, who is probably the greatest and most gifted spokesperson for the American people and the people of this world. I want to thank Kevin Blanche for his dedicated insistence that this radiation is killing everybody on the planet. We are all dead, folks! Ladies and gentlemen, look at this. Mr. Obama, I have suited him up for scuba diving because he's a bad Obama. This is a very bad Obama. But being that he's the president, he deserves a vacation, so we're gonna take him scuba diving in the Philippines. And right now we're in a Palawan Coron. This is on the boat. This is the head of the boat, and this is the head of America. And I heard he likes everything that has to do with the head. Both ways. That's all I kind of say about that. From a Mr. Larry City Platt. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Obama, he started a war in Syria, and he's a bad Obama, but in Syria, everybody has a DOD poster. The DOD poster is in Syria now. The DOD in Syria and in the Philippines. A special guest appearance over the DOD in the Philippines with Mr. Obama. Because he's a bad Obama. He's doing many bad things to many countries all over the world. And everybody is afraid to say that except the Michael Fazio. That's right. And because I don't, the cat. That's right too. And Mr. Obama, do you have enough? Are you comfortable, Mr. Obama? I could use a little more weight. I have more weight for you, Mr. Obama. Look, I have more weight right there. Good, Obama? Now you're ready to go diving, Mr. Obama. Now you are not the positive buoyant. You have enough of lead and the weights to be negative buoyant, and I will give you oxygen when you get it down to the bottom. I will send some oxygen down for you. Oh, thank you very much, Michael Fazio. You're welcome, Mr. Obama. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have to undo Mr. Obama because we've got to get ready for the plunge. And look at this. He had too much weight. A nice yellow weight for Mr. Obama. Oops. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Oops. I'm sorry, Mr. Obama. Bye-bye, Mr. Obama. From your lips to God's ears, Michael Fazio. That's right. Oy vey. And shalom. From the traveling DOD in the Philippines, baby. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And ladies and gentlemen, always remember those straight things. Ladies and gentlemen, what you see before you on your screen is a perfect representation of a horned owl. This is the snout of a horned owl. This is the left eye of the horned owl, depending on your point of view. This is the right eye of the horned owl. This is the face of the horned owl. Notice when I zoom this in, that is the snoot with the beak of the horned owl, and dead center inside this beak are two minute marks, one black dot and one black dot, which represents the nose. This you can see by folding your own $1 bill in this exact configuration, and you know which configuration it is when you see these 4 alignment marks, 2 on this side, 2 on this side, 2 on this side, 2 on this side, and you make this word O, what looks like most of an N, and the letter R. When it becomes Onar, you know that this owl is going to appear on your $1 bill as well. There's a reason for this, folks. The reason is because some group of beings, some entities, either from this world or from another world, or from a remnant race of beings that have existed on this world for tens of thousands or millions of years, placed all of these pictographs on the reverse of the $1 bill. Now, I'm not going to get involved with the pictography around this particular owl, but I am going to show you when this owl gets inverted, because if you'll notice at the bottom of your screen, what appears right now at the bottom of the screen is right behind this marker, a hog-nosed bat. Okay? It is there because it is the opposing pictograph of the owl. It is in the center and opposing the owl. So notice the orange wings that you see here of the owl. Notice the orange wings that are above these orange marks. Okay, they're not orange wings. The marks represent the outline of the owl's outstretched wings. This is the owl's face. This is the owl's face. This is his wings. This is his wings. Notice when I turn this upside down, you're going to see a bat in the same place as you see the owl. Because, ladies and gentlemen, some sort of entity that we don't know and no one has ever been able to figure out placed all of this pictography on the $1 bill. But it didn't do so in 1934. This hog-nosed bat, that is the whole picture that circumvents this skull and bones that you see on your dollar bill. And if you take a dollar bill out of your pocket, you will see a skull and bones when you fold it in this exact configuration. The entity or group of beings that placed this stuff on top of the $1 bill was so far advanced that there is no possible way on earth that a human being could be responsible for this type of accuracy. Now, I'm going to stop this here, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so you can see that there are actually teeth, and each eye has 3 lines. 3 on the left and 3 on the right. You can see this when you take a dollar bill out of your own pocket. You can see this. Now you know that you are close to getting the picture right when the alignment marks above the bat's head make the word the America, U-M-E-R-I-C-A. Okay, you know that it's close, and when you take your dollar bill out of your pocket and you fold it exactly like this, you're going to see the bat take the same shape that the owl took a moment ago and drape its wings over the seed pods, outlined in orange. These are the bat's wings now, draped over the seed pods. Exactly below, straight down, is the owl. Now you can't tell me that this is an accident. You can do this in the privacy of your own home, or you can do it in a bar. It doesn't make a difference. It is doable on every dollar bill that has ever been made since the year 1934. Because, folks, this is a methodology in which the people that control this world have utilized to show their dominance over this world society, via it political or religious, any religion, all organized religions. This is just a different methodology. Another organized religion would have something called the Bible. That is their methodology in which to control. This is the ultimate control because it is the most widely known piece of paper on earth. However, what no one understands, and that's in my book, Angels on the Ark, is that there is a codex. A codex is like breaking a Morse code. A codex is breaking a codices that relates one thing to another. And in this case, inside the volume of my book, Angels on the Ark by Michael Fazio, is the codices that proves that these bat and the owl exist, because the detailed pictures in the book show you this. There are 130 pictures expandable to full page, however big your computer is, where you can see this detail for yourself. You can click the link in the instruction box, in the description box below. It'll bring you to my website. Please follow the instructions, because if you follow the instructions, it's only 4 steps, folks, with one added item at the end. If you pay with an e-check, it takes several days. There's 4 steps. Just follow the steps. Please make it easy on you and me, folks. Please, it's a really simple process. Now, if you go to the book, you will see inside the volume of the book, a.k.a. Angels on the Ark by Michael Fazio, the methodology in which I prove that there are 3,000 pictographs on the $1 bill. 3,300, 4,000, 7,000, 10,000. There is no limit to the amount of pictographs that appear on the $1 bill. If you follow my instructions, you'll probably find several hundred that I have never seen before, because it is almost as if there's an endless amount of pictographs. What can I say? Okay? And when you fold it in another methodology, like this, you can see God watching you. Now that sounds crazy. But everything I just said to you sounds crazy. But if you want crazy, folks, I'm going to give you crazy right now. I'm going to show you something that's even more crazy, ladies and gentlemen. What I'm going to show you right here is a picture of Satan holding a bow and arrows. Whether or not you choose to believe this is a representation of Satan, in my book, it proves it. In his dexter claw, he has a bow, or bow of olive branch. In the sinister claw of the eagle, he has the arrows. Above the shield is the Indian headdress. The Satan can only be seen when you turn his world upside down, because the Lord turned Satan's world upside down as a punishment. Now it looks like an eagle. However, above the eagle's head is a nuclear detonation. It is a nuclear detonation. Notice the 13 particles of nuclear detonation, fissionable material. Immediately outside the blast or fission explosion is the sound or concussion waves. And immediately outside the sound or concussion waves is the light wave that bursts from the initial blast of any nuclear energy. Go online, look up a nuclear detonation, see for yourselves that nuclear detonation is completely different than a radiation of straight lines from a controlled fission source such as the sun. This is also created by radioactive isotopes, but this is a controlled radiation. Straight lines as opposed to circular little blast waves or concussion waves coming from a central focus point. They are two different forms of energy. And the third form of energy that you see before you is the energy of the Lord God. This energy is the energy that charged up the Ark of the Covenant. Because, folks, this is a perfect depiction of the Ark of the Covenant to within 1/10,000th scale. I have challenged people globally and worldwide for untold amounts of money, and no one will come forward to challenge my hypothesis or postulations. Because, ladies and gentlemen, they simply can't. Everything I just stated to you about the Bible, the codices, the pictographs, and the remnant race of societies is indisputable, and I challenge anyone globally in the world to dispute my postulations. This is Michael Fazio, January 22nd. The office stands firm. God day to you all, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, this is part number 9 of the Ark of the Covenant series by Michael Fazio. And what we discussed in part number 8, towards the end of the dissertation, is in fact the faces of what I call the Egyptian gods. When you invert this pictograph that you see before you on the screen, and you should stop it and play with this. However, these pictographs are all in the book Angels on the Ark by Michael Fazio. But when you rotate this pictograph and turn it upside down, as I said in part number 8, you see a perfect representation of a pharaoh's head. Now, the reason that you see the pharaoh's head with the forked beard that is behind my finger and the vulture's headdress that is now behind my finger, the reason you see these two is because the face that you see behind, that you see inside here, and the face that you see inside here are Egyptian faces. They are faces of the Egyptian King Tutankhamun's headdress. This representation of Tutankhamun was made 7,000 years ago, or several thousand years ago, when they buried Tutankhamun. However, this headdress is an identical 2-scale replica of what appears on the reverse of the $1 bill on either end, and is denoted as the beasts that appear on the end of the $1 bill. And I can tell you that they are called beasts because any animal, any creature, whether it is an eagle, is a beast. An eagle is a beast. So when you see in the next part of the series that I'm going to discuss, this eagle is one of the 4 beasts denoted on the reverse of the Ark of the Covenant on the reverse of the $1 bill. A beast is also a bullock. And a bullock is something that is what is known as a beast of burden. However, when you look at a bullock from a certain perspective, a bullock can also, which is denoted in the Bible, can also be denoted as an oxen. So when you see the words oxen and bullock on the reverse of the $1 bill, and it is discussed that these pictographs appear on the Ark of the Covenant that was given to Moses by the Lord God, there is in fact an oxen or bullock on the reverse of the $1 bill and on the Ark of the Covenant, and that is denoted by looking at the pictograph on either end of the Ark of the Covenant, on either end of the $1 bill. Especially it can be seen when you rotate these beasts, so to speak, in the vertical position. It is very simple to see that this is a representation of a set of horns similar to that of a bullock or an oxen. However, I created these little pictographs and I colored them in so that you could see this a little bit more clearly, this is also a representation of a bullock or a calf on the end of the $1 bill. However, this pictograph that you see before you, with the faces that face before and behind, these faces that you see before and behind are the faces of the angels that are denoted as the sixth winged seraphim that appear on the reverse of the $1 bill. And these are in fact sixth winged seraphim, because when you take the eye of either one of those creature-like men or men-like creatures, and you immediately to the left and right of the eyes count the lines that are next to the eyeballs themselves, you can immediately see that they are represented as 6 individual segments to the left and right of the eyes, and that is how the sixth winged seraphim that protect the Lord God both day and night and sing holy, holy, holy is represented on the reverse of the $1 bill. And this is how the bullock or oxen is represented as the beast that is on the reverse of the $1 bill. And the pictures of men that appear to be men that are not men is how the beast called men that are not men, or man-like creatures that protect the Lord God both day and night, and are the angels of the Lord God, a.k.a. the faces of the sixth-winged seraphim. This is how the sixth-winged seraphim are denoted, and the methodology in which the oxen, the bullock, the sixth-winged seraphim itself, and the faces of men that are likened unto men but are not necessarily men. And this is covered where it says in Revelation 4:6, it says, in the center around the throne. So, around the throne is in fact, the throne is where the Lord God's energy or Shinka exists. This is the throne of the Lord God, a.k.a. the Ark of the Covenant. The numeral that represents the word one, or the one God's first commandment, a.k.a. the Lord God, thou shalt have no other gods before me. This is the one God. This is the throne. The angels that I just discussed with you in Revelation 4:6, it says, in the center around the throne were 4 living creatures. So if you take that literally, in the center, on either side of the Ark of the Covenant, in the center, of course, this being the center of the Ark of the Covenant, not the center per se, the center of the mercy seat, but the center of the Ark of the Covenant, sat the 4 creatures. So this is the center, and these are the representations of the 4 creatures, or living creatures, and they were covered with eyes. So in the center around the throne were 4 living creatures, and they were covered with eyes. In the center around the throne were 4 living creatures, and they were covered with eyes. Now let's move back. In the center around the throne, this being the center, in the center, around the throne, in the center, around the throne, the sixth-winged seraphim that appear around the throne, the sixth-winged seraphim that at this point is the hinge of the angel's wings, at this point is the hinge of the angel's wings. The sixth-winged seraphim that appear, that surround the throne, and this surrounds the throne because the sixth-winged seraphim typically have their wings touching. And at the bottom and at the top, those wingtips almost touch. However, in my book I describe to you, well, there are many reasons why they don't touch now. But when you close that gap and make this set of wingtips of the sixth wing seraphim touch, it forms a pictograph on the reverse of the $1 bill that is rather interesting. When you take these sets of wings that are further apart and bring them together, it forms a completely different set of pictographs. So this is how they have made 3,300 pictographs on the reverse and obverse of the $1 bill. This is not a joke, ladies and gentlemen. This is serious science. No human being on Earth now or before in 1934 could have done these things. So let's go back to the pictograph, or to the words. In the center around the throne were 4 living creatures, and they were covered with eyes. These are the eyes that they were covered with. Here is an eye. Here is an eye. However, there is also an eye. There is also a set of eyes. There is a set of eyes looking this way. There is a set of eyes looking this way. There is a set of eyes looking this way. There is a set of eyes looking this way. There is a set of eyes looking this way. There is a set of eyes looking this way. There is a set of eyes looking this way. There is a set of eyes looking that way. No matter how you turn the end of the $1 bill, there is a set of eyes that covers the ends of the $1 bill. And here it is before I Ladies and gentlemen, Rabbi Jew Barker is back with a vengeance. And today we're in the Philippines, baby. That's right. And what I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, is this is the view from the dive boat that I am on, and from the hotel on the private island that I am on. Is the same view but a different view on the same day but different days. Every day is the same day. Everything is the same every day, but it changes every day, all the time, but always remains the same. That's right. Now, we're on our way to 3 different dives, 2 deep dives and a coral dive, and I'm going to be the one to teach scuba diving today, because I am Rabbi Jew Barker, scuba instructor, baby. That's right. So we'll start out with the tank, and you see those weights over there? I have a thing I'm going to do with the weights over there. I'm going to have a special guest from the White House. He's honored. He's again suited up. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Guessed it. You guessed it, ladies and gentlemen. It's Mr. Obama, scuba diver. That's right. Number 1, Mr. Obama. He's suited up, but what he notices, he's missing something, but you do not know what he's missing, because you are not a Rabbi Jew Barker, baby. What he's missing is he's going to float up to the surface like a cork, and it will not be able to go down into the water underneath the meters, into the depths of the wrecks. So we're going to make Mr. Obama negatively buoyant, and here's how we're going to do this. First, we have to try 3 kilos, 6 pounds. Let's see if this is enough for Mr. Obama. How do you feel, Mr. Obama? I feel a little light, Rabbi. I think I need a little more weight. Okay, Mr. Obama, you are the one. You are in charge, Mr. Obama. How about another 8 kilos of weight, Mr. Obama? Will that work for you? I think so, Rabbi. I think we'll be able to put these kilos over here. And Mr. Obama, how do you feel now? I feel like I'm a perfect Rabbi Jew Barker. I will sink slowly. But we don't want that, ladies and gentlemen. We want Mr. Obama to go down like it's bringing America down want them to go down the right of way. So we have over here, we have the down the right of way extra weights for Mr. Obama. Mr. Obama, you will be sinking like a rock. From your lips to God's ears, Rabbi Jubal. That's right. So what do we have here? Have some more weight for you, Mr. Obama. Is that enough? That's too much, Rabbi Jubaka. Could have never be enough, Mr. Obama, because we wanted you to be down there first, like you bring America down to first and last. So here's another 10 kilos of weight for you, Mr. Obama, because you're a bad Obama. That's right. Oh well, Mr. Rabbi Chewbacca, no. Yes, Mr. Obama. You lied about Syria. Every one of these weights is a karma. You were going to sink like a rock, like you made America sink. That's right. We'll put this over here like that. Oh, well, hold this one is special. In case you do not go down fast enough, I will hand this off to you like you handed off America to the foreign countries and you destroyed our Constitution. No, Rabbi Chewbacca, please, I'm sorry. This is no apologies, Mr. Obama. This is a no apology strategy. You will be the one to go scuba diving with Rabbi Chewbacca. You will be number one, first down to the bottom. Rabbi Chewbacca, I'm so sorry. No, Mr. Obama, you have lied to the people. Only thing that was true is your fundamental change. You have destroyed America, Mr. Rabbi Chewbacca, I'm so sorry. No, Mr. Obama. Let's make sure you have air. Yes? Is it good? It's good for you, it's good for me. There's not enough air. Don't worry about it. Where you're going, there will be bubbles in the wreck. You will be able to breathe from the bubbles. Because that's what you have given America. No chance to breathe. And then now you will be the one to breathe from the remnant, the bubbles. But I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm making this up as I go. How am I doing? How am I doing? You guys in the White House, how you doing? Michael Fazio. That's F-A-Z-I-O. Spell it right. And here we go. Ready? We're going to do 1, 2, 3. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. And this is Michael Fazio in the Philippines, teaching scuba diving to Mr. Obama. He's a good Obama. He's a good Obama. We have the kisses for Mr. Obama. That's right. Bye-bye. Number one. Number one. Number one out of what? You are number one, Mr. Obama. Number one. That's right, baby. More fun in the Philippines. Ladies and gentlemen, this video series, the $1 bill series, is back on track. Now, I'm going to prove to you that the Illuminati wrote the King James Bible, or a distant relative of the Illuminati. I will also prove to you that the King James Bible associates itself to what is known as the $1 bill, which could be considered a Rosetta Stone of information. It also could be considered an angel, and that's where I got my name, Hoodwinked by an Angel, because you people have been hoodwinked by an angel. And what does the definition of the word angel actually infer? It infers a messenger, a harbinger of truth from the spirit world. More than that, you can go look it up yourself. But an angel is something that brings information to this world, as in a book, a spirit guide, or in this case, the $1 bill. That's where I got the name of my book from, Angels on the Ark. Because in fact, there are 2 6-winged seraphims on either side of the ends of the dollar bill. But moving past that, the Illuminati, or some remnant society of beings or creatures or something, not of this world or from this world, that originated on this world, left this world, came back to this world, no one will ever know what is actually in control, other than the fact that the Vatican controls the United States currency, the Bank of England, and in fact the Bohemian Grove and the War Machine. No one will ever know. Maybe they know. Maybe they have an idea that they know, but they won't tell you, and there's no way that you're ever going to get the information out of these people, because the world is about to end. Just as I have predicted in my book, Angels on the Ark, Obama is responsible. And I said this in my book, he wouldn't be responsible for 1 nuclear detonation, he would be responsible for 2 nuclear detonations on his watch. And now we're going to see just how right I was. Because, ladies and gentlemen, on the dollar bill is a storyline, just as in the King James Bible. And the storyline in the King James Bible is the book of Genesis. And the Great Pyramid represents the first 17 verses of the book of Genesis. There is light, there are clouds which represent the heavens, there is a firmament, there is a void, because the circle would be a void prior to that. And all of the first 17 verses in the book of Genesis are represented in the Bible. Now, the sun, or the glory of God, which brings light unto this world, also represents the Illuminati. But it also represents light. And this is where my friend Manny and I differ. He doesn't believe the sun is real, and I do. Now, the sun radiates its light outwardly from the center in straight lines. And this is how I can prove to you that there is a nuclear detonation on the dollar bill, because you have been trained from birth to believe that this symbol or symbology is a glory, but it's not. This represents a detonation, because there are no straight lines emanating from the center. There is 13 stars, a.k.a. the Star of David, which goes back much further than Israel and much further than the Talmud. And it goes back to Saturn, according to my friend Rick, who's the head of the space agency in Texas, I believe. So moving on past this, that you have 13 stars in the middle representing an explosion. And outward from those 13 stars, inside the 6-sided figure around those 13 stars, is the concussion or blast wave, and immediately outside that is the circle, which has the flash. So you have the detonation, the concussion, and the flash. Now, how can I prove to you that this is a nuclear detonation? Well, in the Bible, in Revelation 9:11, because I can use the Bible to prove my point, because whatever created the dollar bill uses the Bible to communicate with one another. The Bible was not written by God, it is a storybook. And this storybook reads like a football playlist. This is what we're going to do, and this is what we're going to do, and this is what we're going to do, and that's going to happen, and when we die, and it goes on and on. It's really complex. But moving past that, because we don't have a lot of time left, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to nuke this world, and in fact they did. Obama is responsible for 2 nuclear detonations. Fukushima, one of the detonations was a nuclear bomb set off 6 miles from shore that created the tsunami, that created the wave, that created the devastation in Fukushima. That was the first nuclear detonation that Obama knew about. In fact, it's all over the internet that from James Stone. He proved that the detonation was from a nuclear device. The seismographic readings of the on the day of 3/11, which happens to be today's date in the Philippines, the seismographic readings represented 6.0 on the Richter scale, and they were later scrubbed off. They were later scrubbed from every website on the internet. So if you don't think there's internet censorship, that's another thing that we should talk about, but not necessarily now. So that Obama knew about the nuclear detonation because he's part of the Illuminati. Now I could prove that to you because he is going to be the last president. There will never be another president of the United States of America. Now maybe 2 years from now you will come back and say, you were wrong. Well, no, I can't be wrong because the United States of America doesn't actually exist anymore. Actually, the United States of America is dead. We are now part of the North American Trade Union. And I predicted this back in 2010 before I had a pretty good understanding of politics. The United States does not exist anymore. Obama is the last president of the United States, and he is represented by the skull and bones on the dollar bill. Now, to prove to you that the dollar bill represents the skull and bones, when you fold it in this exact fashion, a skull and bones appears, and in pictographic form, the eyes of 3 lines and 3 lines, one eye closed, are 6 lines. Then there are 6 teeth on the top row and 6 teeth on the bottom row. Therefore, you have the number 666. Now you have the skull and bones, what was created in the year 1832, and 6, 6, and 6 are 18. Now you have the 3 contiguous lines around the outside of the head, and contiguous means that they do not break. Basically, they do not break. And you have the number 3 dark lines around the skull. 18, 3, and now you need 2. And inside those 3 dark lines, you have 2 what looks like white lines, or a little separated by a black line in between those white lines. So you have the number 1832, the year the Skull and Bones Society was formed. Now you have a bat with its wings spread over what I call the God Pod and the evil seed of death. Why do I call it the God Pod? I will tell you after I explain the bat. I believe the bat, well, first of all, it has the ability to see at night and in the darkness, so it works in the shadows. And I believe it was the original let's say, logos for the Yale Skull and Bones, maybe for the higher echelon of the Yale Skull and Bones. That I can't prove. But I believe that somewhere in their society, the bat represents the skull and bones. Now, moving on, I said I would explain the God Pod. First of all, the light, or the glory, which is completely different than the detonation on the dollar bill, gives life. Everything inside the God Pod, which is this, we have rain, clouds, moisture, light, earth, herbs, waters. Everything is represented as life in the God Pod. In the evil seed of death, we have an eagle, which is a killing machine. It tears its victims apart with its talons and its beak, and typically it's a coward and attacks from the rear. Similar to the United States government, that are nothing more than a bunch of leeches that have never actually created anything except taxes and wars. In the last 100 years, this is true, beyond any reproach. Aside from the eagle having in its talons arrows, 13 arrows, which is representing of a war, you have 13 leaves, which they say represents a bough of olive branch. And it does, but it also can be spelled B-O-W. So you have a bow and arrows in the eagle's talons. What else do you have in there that represents death? Well, you have the nuclear detonation. Now, I will give you some links below, but the way the nuclear detonation works is that there are particles that expand exponentially, as I previously explained. And this representation is a little better than the one I used originally. And what else do you have in there? Well, the name of the President of the United States, who I call in my book the rider on the pale horse, whose name is Death, a.k.a. Mr. Obama. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Look at Mr. Obama, he's on the skull and bones. His head is on the skull and bones. That's right. Now, moving back to some more serious stuff, you have nothing in here that represents life. You have the Commander-in-Chief, and there you have an Indian chief with a war bonnet on its head and a bow and arrows, because this was the first methodology in which, effective technology, in which to kill people from a distance. a.k.a. the first methodology of killing people in this world from a distance was a bow and arrows. Much more efficient than rocks. And the last methodology in which to kill people will be the nuclear detonation. And here we go. This nuclear detonation represents Apollyon in the book of Revelation 9:11, or Revelation 9:11, because Apollyon represents the word Abaddon. And Abaddon is an entity, not a person, that can kill, that will be sent to destroy the world from the pit, an angel of death that will arise out of the pit. And when you turn this and you look at the eagle's wings as a pit, and you look at the nuclear detonation over the pit, well, you would say it's on top. You would say it's a nuclear detonation or a glory on top of the eagle's head. However, when you turn it upside down, and in order to see the devil, or what the devil does to you, is he turns your world upside down. And in order to see the devil, you have to turn his world upside down. Now it's upside down, and the eagle's wings are over the detonation. Just like in Fukushima. Fukushima radiation is coming from the ground. It is not coming from the atmosphere. Yes, it ends up in the atmosphere, in the oceans, but that's because it's so far underwater, you stop being able to see it. But what about the hundreds of tons of pellets that were dispersed, and they just threw 10 feet or 15 feet of dirt on top of those pellets? Every time it rains, the pellets dissolve a little bit. The water that goes through the soil brings the radiation into the ground. This is Fukushima on the dollar bill, baby. Now, Apollyon, who I call the rider on the pale horse, and Obama, who is an angel of death, appears on the dollar bill, because the first methodology in which they could kill from a distance was the bow and arrows. And the last technology, and the one they will use to destroy and wipe out mankind, is radiation. And here are 5 reasons. I just picked the number 5. I could give you 15. Number 1, it's unseen. It's long-term. And unlike that moron from England who likes opinions, this isn't an opinion, this is a fact. The radiation from Fukushima is equivalent to 16,000 nuclear bombs, the size that were dropped on Hiroshima. And it's all going in the ground and in the atmosphere from rainwater going into the ground and the oceans evaporating, or from just direct radiation from the building itself. If you were to run up to the building, I mean run at full speed, run to the building, you'd probably be dead before you got there. That's how powerful the radiation is. You would definitely be dead before you got back to where you started, because no one can go in the building. And no one is doing anything about it. They're not going to do anything about it because they want you dead. And that's how they're going to do it. Now, Fukushima is just one form of radiation. A second form of radiation where I get arguments from, which there shouldn't be any arguments because I'm right and they're wrong, is from the waste products from nuclear submarines. All that you see, the hundreds of square acres, or tens of square miles of a nuclear power plant, all of that building, all those smokestacks, all the pipe, all the underground plumbing, it's only to contain steam from the nuclear power plant through steam generation. Now, whether or not they use steam generation in the same methodology as they use in a power plant, a nuclear power plant, submarine power plant, still creates energy. You still cannot go into the reactor room for more than a few minutes a day, if that, over the course of a year. I think that would be too much, according to what I read, but it doesn't matter. All the waste from the nuclear power plant and the submarine goes straight out into the ocean, and it's increasing exponentially because they have hundreds of these nuclear submarines. Now they're building icebreakers with nuclear power plants. They have aircraft power plants, aircraft carriers with nuclear power plants. They want to build steamships with nuclear power plants. They're dumping radiation into the ocean. They're going to kill us all with radiation. Don't you get it? Eventually, and not any time in the far distant. If you were born today, you will see the end of the world. I will probably see the end of the world. And I'm 59 years old. All of the Hanford nuclear power plant, Chernobyl, they haven't done a damn thing about any of these things. They just say it's gone, but you can't go near any of these things for any length of time, because it's constant. It's a constant method. It's how they're going to kill everybody. Don't you get it? It's pretty freaking simple. They created nuclear technology with the understanding they couldn't get rid of the waste, and they did it anyway. And now they're just throwing the crap in the ocean. Doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what some moron on the internet says they're going to be able to take care of everyone. It's nonsense. Even if they could take care of it, they're not going to. They don't want to. They want you dead. 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 And nuclear radiation is going into your head. They want you dead. Now, I said Obama would be responsible for 2 nuclear detonations. One was in the ocean that caused the tsunami. Jim Stone has it on his site. The whole internet has been scrubbed. I remember the morning of 3/11. I remember it like it was yesterday. It said it was a 6.0 earthquake. Now, the way the Richter scale works, it can never be off plus or minus 0.02%. Can't be. If there's one here, one in Russia, and one in America, the Richter scale compensates in some methodology that they use, that whatever reading is here in the Philippines and in America or Russia would be compensated to be within plus or minus 0.2% or 0.02%. So On the day of Fukushima, it said 6.0. Jim Stone has it on his website. And now it's 9.0. They just reversed the numbers, like they double speak, like everything Obama ever said is a lie. It's a lie. Nothing he ever said is the truth. The most transparent government, nonsense. He said he was going to change the world, and he did, but now he insinuated it was going to be for the better, but it's for the worse. Everything Clinton says is a lie. Everything Bill Clinton said was a lie. He said he was making wildlife preserves. I thought it was a great thing. He donated hundreds of thousands of acres to the state. He was stealing the land from the American people. So they're now controlled. You can't go on it in most cases. Moving back to Obama, the first nuclear detonation was in fact the detonation by a nuclear device in several miles of water that created the wave that caused the damage. Proof of this is that there was no physical damage to the buildings. You can see it in the video. There's no physical damage. A 9.0 earthquake anywhere in the world would level every building, and then the tsunami would come in a half hour, an hour, or 2 hours later. There's no physical damage to any of the buildings at all. Nothing, zero, voila. It's a lie. Didn't happen. It was a nuclear device. That's the first nuclear device Obama would be responsible for. The second one was inside Fukushima. Now, did Obama put the damn thing there? No, he didn't put it there, but he knew it was going there. And if he didn't know it was going there, he knew it happened. Now he knows. Because it's the same day that the nuclear event occurred, Obama told all the universities, all the government buildings, everybody, every government agent, every warship, every battleship, every nuclear submarine, shut off the nuclear radiation detector devices. Because he's part of the plan. He's Illuminati. Obama is not the Antichrist. No one actually knows what the but he is the rider on the pale horse whose name is death that I tell you about in my book. And on a side note, if you order my book through my website, you need to make the email address that you use for your credit card, you need to make it the same email address you use for your credit card as you use for your email address that you want the book shipped to, because it's an ebook. People that use different email addresses don't get the book. You also need to check your spam folder. If you don't use the same email address, your payment may or may not go through. It's happened twice in the last 6 months. But you won't get the book because the email address doesn't associate itself with the account, and they call it a fraudulent delivery address or whatever. It doesn't go to your damn address. So that's number one. Number two, it goes through PayPal. You pay PayPal. With PayPal, I've never had a problem with anybody getting the book. But you still have to use the right address. And it goes through GoDaddy.com. I have nothing to do with shipping the books. So the two people that have complained in the last 6 months, I can't help you with that. You did it wrong. My instructions are real simple. And many of my videos, moving past that. If you order my book from my website, make sure the address and all the information is filled out correctly, or the order doesn't go through. Second, if you order it from Amazon.com, I've never had a complaint in 5 years. Now, in my book, I said Obama would be responsible for 2 nuclear detonations. One is the detonation that occurred off the coast, and the second one is the detonation that occurred in Reactor 3. It was definitely a nuclear detonation. There's no doubt about it. One of those, they call it like what is the name of that thing? It's like a hammer, a ram, a piston detonation. It's like boom, it pushes 2 half moons of plutonium, about 30 kilograms of plutonium together, and then it causes a critical mass. And I don't want to get involved with it because I'm really not that familiar with that aspect of it, but that was the second one. I was right. All my prophecies come right. I told you unequivocally that Obama would try to remove Resolution HD.5, which is the 22nd addendum or an amendment, removing term limits from the presidency. 3 days ago he did it. I told you he would do this on May 12th of 2012, and he did it yesterday, which is 3/10 or 3/9, because I live in the Philippines. He did it yesterday. He signed an executive order removing term limits for the presidency. I'm right. All you people are wrong. Now, I'm going to mention Queenie Cameron because she said she was going to do a video about me. Go back, and she said she was going to give me a thumbs up. Because Queenie's a cool chick. She has her own beliefs about the Bible and God, and she's entitled to them until she understands the higher concepts that exist within the Bible and the dollar bill that will associate themselves with each other, as a Rosetta Stone did to the ancient hieroglyphs, the Rosetta Stone. There was something that couldn't be read, and then once they interpreted it, it all made sense. Well, this is the Rosetta Stone of the King James Bible, and the reason they use this is because we're gonna move away from nuclear. I already just proved my point. 2 detonations on Obama's watch in my book. Nobody's ever given me a bad review. Anybody that could sit through 1,990 pages realizes that I was right about everything, about the pictographs on the dollar bill, about the sun, about the nuclear detonation, about the angels, or the dollar bill being an angel, because it's a messenger. Now, Queenie Cameron said she's going to give me it doesn't matter. You guys want to make a bad review, knock yourself out. Because all you're doing is knocking yourself out. You can't prove me wrong. I can't be proven wrong. Because I'm right. Not because I say I'm right, because I give you the facts. Would I make a $10,000 challenge if I couldn't prove what I say? Has anybody taken my $10,000 challenges? Has anybody taken my $20,000 challenge? No, because you can't. I tell you, I will send you the contract. You can't prove me wrong. The skull and bones is on the dollar bill. That's one thing I say that I will challenge you. The Bohemian Grove owl, well, there it is, right there, baby. Not a joke, it's right there. It's in your face. The Bohemian Grove owl. There it is. Right, there is it, right there. There's the face of the Bohemian Grove owl. It also has its wings over the dollar bill. And that's there because Bohemian Grove represents the government of the United States, which is a city-state. We're going to digress off the nuclear stuff. We're going to digress off Queenie Cameron. We're going to give Manny another shout-out because he's the only one with the boys big enough to do what I do. Nobody else. Nobody else. All these other guys that yell and scream and blah, 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 they're all a bunch of sissies. Wannabe Mannys, wannabe Michaels. Now, this represents the United States Mafia, the war machine, the city-state of Washington, D.C. And this represents the Skull and Bones Society, which represents the Bank of England, which is another city-state that doesn't pay taxes. And then they have the third city-state, the Skull and Bones headquarters, the head of the pyramid, the Vatican, and everything that is evil in this world is coerced and instructed by the beings that live under the Vatican. Now you could say, well, lots of people think above the Vatican this, the Vatican that. I'm telling you that the Vatican controls the whole schmeal. And it does so with the Bible, because the creatures that exist under the Vatican, the beings that rule this world, that have ruled this world for millions, if not billions of years, and had the technology that we still don't have in today's world to create 3,300 pictographs. It's just a number I picked. There may be less, there may be more. The beings that used technology that still doesn't exist in today's world to create the dollar bill and the codices in the King James Bible so that they would know who they were when they met in secret, live under the Vatican. They also live under other ancient European churches where the G20 meeting took place in a few years back, all the politicians had to go to that church. Every one of them went to the church. And the floor is set up like a Masonic thing, checkerboard, if I remember correctly. That's a long time ago. But under the ground, these creatures exist. Now I call them creatures because they believe that killing and war and pedophilia and child molestation and child sacrifice and drinking blood, they believe all that crap is good. And it's good for them. Works so far for them. Nobody's on the internet. I'm going to make a link. I copied this link. This is the article. Let me tell you something about newspaper articles. They're all bullshit. I've been on the front page of the Metropolitan newspaper 3 times. Three times. But the story that related to the front page of the paper had nothing to do with the reality behind the event. And I can't tell you what the event is. I forgot. I have a bad memory. But you can't believe anything you read in the paper. I was sitting there with my friends and going, do you believe this crap that they wrote about this thing that happened, an event? A big event, a small event in the course of history. It was a big event at the time, and now it's a small event. Oscar, Herman, Eugene, it's a big event. It's a small event, it's nothing. Anyway, moving on. Nothing you read about in the paper, nothing, the link, say, I got this link, if you don't share my videos, I got something for you. I got it right here, ladies and gentlemen. This is no joke. You kind of have this. You kind of have, what do you really need when you don't share my videos? This is a Mr. Obama puppet whose head is under the skull and bone. And talking about Mr. Obama, look at his, we're getting ready to have lunch here. It's a happy Obama, that's right. Now, we're going to go back to this for a minute, and then we're going to wrap this up. I know this video was kind of like haphazard. I didn't plan on doing this today. Actually, I planned on going swimming. But I never got there because I looked up and I saw this picture of the Vatican, and I realized that it would be better for me to do this video. And then I realized when I was reading Queenie Cameron's comment, today is the anniversary, because it's 3/11 in the Philippines, today's the anniversary of Fukushima. So I realized I had to do this video. Which reminds me of my friend Manny, who says, and now I have to do a new series. Well, I don't have to do a new series. I got this one going. All I wanted to do today was prove to you that Obama is the last president of the United States. We are now living in the European Union. I was right. In my book, I said it. I said he'd be the last president, and he is. Now he just did an executive order, whatever the hell he does, to end term limits, because he doesn't believe anybody is as qualified as he is to lead this world into the future. I would like to lead Mr. Obama into the future. I would like to lead him to a lot of different places. I would really like to help him get ahead. And speaking about ahead, Mr. Obama and ahead, Mr. Obama, I would like to help you get up. He lost his head. I will help you, Mr. Obama. I will help you. And ladies and gentlemen, with that, I have to say that this video, as haphazard as it was, is to prove that the Bible was not written by God. 9/11 as the Apollyon, as the Abaddon, as the harbinger of death, as the force of evil that destroys the world, is in fact Fukushima on the $1 bill. How else would they have known to make the force that destroys this world the number 9/11 in the Bible, representing a satanic nature? And Satan by nature is fire. Nuclear detonation by nature is fire. Nuclear detonations cause fire and brimstone. Obama being the rider on the pale horse, whose name is death, is in fact occurring right now in today's world. And anybody that doesn't believe that I'm right. Oh, and the third city-state is the Vatican. And those are the three city-states. The Vatican, represented by the Ark of the Covenant on the $1 bill, which is a $10 or $20 or $30 or $50,000 challenge to prove me wrong. Take whatever you got and wager it. If you think you got what it takes to prove me wrong, why have none of the world's leading experts on the Ark of the Covenant, including Eric Klein from George Washington University or Mark Goodacre from Duke University or any other world's leading expert on the Ark of the Covenant, come forward to challenge me? There are the poles of shittim wood, white. The four ringlets that hold the poles of shittim wood are donated in red. 1, 2, 3, 4. The six-winged seraphims appear on the end of the dollar bill. There they are, right there, depending on your light. One faces upwards and one faces downwards, or left to right, because I have the camera modified in my hand. I'm a modified mother jumper that I am. And that's the six-winged seraphim. That could be a bullock with the two faces that appear to be men-like faces. And there they are. I'll show it to you in greater detail. Look, see, we finally have a use for Mr. Obama. One face faces left. Yeah, look, there's Mr. Obama facing left, right there. One face faces left. It has an eye, a nose, and a mouth. And the second face, divided, faces right. The six-winged seraphim face left and right, see forward and back, and there you have the face of a bullock. Now, depending on the light source that I'm using, you can either see it or not, but there are other videos called Fazigami. Just Google Fazigami, Fazigami, and you will come up with the video that proves that the four beasts spoken about in Book of Revelation 6, verses 4 through 7, are on the dollar bill, and this is it. This is the pictograph that represents those things. So, there is a detonation over the eagle's head, and this is a glory. You can see there are two different things. And anybody that feels spunky, that has $10,000, which most of you schleps on YouTube do not, and it's not your fault that you don't. You have been paying 50% of your taxes, and for what? To feed the American war machine, or the European war machine, or the Spanish war machine, or the Chinese war machine, or the Japanese war machine. You people are being raped. I was raped. I was just a little smarter and a lot luckier than most of you people. I'm no different than you people physically. Well, my mind is vast. If you were to go inside my mind, you would get lost. Unfortunately, that's the truth. I'm a lot smarter than you people. But nothing personal. I mean, I studied a lot more than you. Instead of watching TV, I read books. I read the Encyclopedia Britannica, all the volumes, including the foreword, from cover to cover, like 5 or 6 times, non-stop. I would just read it in the next page, the next day, the next week. I read the book from front to back 5 times, the Encyclopedia Britannica. I read the Webster's 20th Unabridged Dictionary. I read it from cover to cover. Didn't remember a damn thing, but it did increase my knowledge, because even if you remember 2 or 3% of what you read, then you have some recall. I don't have total recall. I'm not God anymore. I was God for a while. About 7 months I stayed in a state of enlightenment, or the Tao, or the Satori experience. I was God. I could take energy out of rocks. I could see in the dark. I could do things. I could read people's minds. But I'm not God anymore. I lost that ability. But I did retain the ability to see things that are unseen. And I see the end of the world on the dollar bill via nuclear radiation, radiological disasters, Fukushima, and then once Fukushima, if we have one disaster in America, in California. San Onofre, I think it is built. It's built, means the devil, I think, but it's built on a tectonic plate or a line, a fault line. If that fails, what about the one 50 miles away? And the wind blowing, if the wind is blowing in that direction. Maybe they design these things so that the wind blows from one to the next, knowing that the next one down would be non-serviceable, but eventually they'll all be non-serviceable because no one will be able to. What do you think? You just get nuclear technicians off the street? I need 10 nuclear technicians to go. There's hundreds or thousands of people. You need guards. You need security. You need camera setups. You need technicians. You need people on the spot. Once one of these things goes, it's all over. It'll be a chain reaction. And everybody will die except the people that go underground. They already have all that stuff stored. And go from Georgia to Maine to California underground through the tunnels using a machine they call the mole. It's 57 feet in diameter. It bores, they say 700 feet a day. It bores closer to a couple of miles a day through rock. It's also nuclear powered boring machines. They have two that they admit to. It bores the way through, it grinds the stuff up into dust. The chemicals are brought in from the back of the machine on huge hoses, 2, 3, 4, 5-inch hoses inside casings. That is, the chemicals are pumped into the machine, also water. What they grind up inside the tunnel boring machine. It's called the mole, but it's tunnel boring. Look up world's largest boring machine. And it's nuclear powered, and it grinds it up into dust. It adds an epoxy, it adds water, it adds chemicals, and then it sprays the dust on the wall and then moves on like a worm through a hole. These people are set. You are going to die. I'm going to die, but I'm 59. I lived a great life. Raised me. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, they want you dead. They want you dead. Radiation and chemtrails over your head. They want you dead. They want you dead. Chemtrails. Where does the radiation come from in chemtrails? Well, if they're using a coal-based product, it comes from coal. Coal is radioactive by nature. Uranium and plutonium in coal. It comes from the same places that uranium is ored from. Like a coal mine could be right next to a uranium mine. But they're probably adding more, which is the nuclear waste, which brings me to depleted uranium bullets. They want you dead. They want you dead. And around Reagan. They killed all those people on around Reagan. They sent 5,000 American troops into the nuclear zone. 500 are now sick. 247 have a class action lawsuit against TEPCO and maybe General Electric. I'm not sure about that. But Fukushima power plant technology, they want you dead, baby. They're going to kill you too. You're all going to die. And 1,000 years from now, they're going to watch Michael Fazio's videos. They're going to have my book and the ebook. When they're in the shelter, when they're warding off the radiation for the next 1,000 years with their children, their children's children, and they become robots inside their head, they become superhuman. My spirit is going to go, I'm going to go to another galaxy. And I'm coming back as a woman. Yeah, I'm going to do that. With big boobs. Talk about having the world by the boys, and blonde with blue eyes. Yeah. Now I'd rather come back as me, actually, but I mean, my second choice would be oh man, I can't think of her name, but whoever she is, she's gorgeous, and she's rich because somebody gives her a lot of money, because arm candy. That's what they are, is arm candy. I mean, unless you fall in love with one, they love you, and that's very rare. But I'm a male chauvinist pig, so don't take my word for it. The only thing I don't like about being a woman is somebody slopping me down. Really never. I like the idea of being a beautiful woman because they give you shit, but I don't like the idea of being a woman because I don't like that at all part. In fact, maybe I'll be a celibate woman with big boobs, blonde hair, and blue eyes, and a figure-8 body. That I like. would be nice. But none of that. You cannot, none of that stuff, because I don't like that. So I mean, everything has the pluses and the minuses, but that part I don't like. But, you know, man, if you're a woman, I would like to do that to you, because it's the way I roll, baby. Maybe that's too much information. Never too much, baby. You're all dead. Fukushima, they want you dead. Depleted uranium bullets, they want you dead. 26 vaccines for the bambinos before they're 5 years old. They want you dead, they want you dead, they want you dead. Get it in your head, they want you dead. They want you dead, baby. And thank you very much for watching my crazy videos. But if anybody out, Mike Rivera, I haven't abused him yet. I need to abuse him. I have a $30,000 challenge that I wagered Mike Rivera to prove that a plane actually crash landed in Pennsylvania. He did not take my challenge. And I have a $30,000 challenge to prove that a plane hit the Pentagon. And there's links all over the internet, and that other moron from England who says I'm opinionated. This is for you, buddy. You would never call me opinionated in real life, because I would bury you in information. What you are is a wannabe YouTuber, and you know who you are. I won't mention your name. You know who you are. You tell me I'm opinionated and that I have big colons, big boys, and then I sent you a video showing you about my big boys, where I walk steel, sit on top of sheets that are 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 feet in the air, waffled sheets with pile drivers going around next to me with no safety line. I got the boys right here. I got bigger boys than everybody on YouTube, or anybody who doesn't do what I did. The third most dangerous job in the world, the Dock Builders Union. Second, only to the Sand Hogs Union, and then underwater demolition. And we did all three. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. Yeah. I used to send rocks the size of a refrigerator up 1,000 feet in the air. 7,000, 12,000 pounds of 50-50. Anyway, you people are all dead. You just don't know it. You're living on borrowed time, so enjoy it. And all you people with the link, send my link, and I said, it's all the stuff in the links, it's all not every news article. You have a great title, I read the article, there's no sustenance. The one, I could actually tell you people that were actually part of certain events. I would get in trouble for doing that, so I will not say anything about those people. In fact, the last time I even mentioned a place that I lived and a name that sounded like the guy who lived there, when I was living in Florida, 3 hours, within 2 or 3 hours, I got a message. Mike, this is so-and-so. I'm going, well, I haven't heard from you in like 5 years. Pick up the phone. So I didn't pick up the phone, but the next time he called, I picked up, he goes, Mike. What are you doing? I'm going, what do you mean, what am I doing? What's with the video? I'm going, I mentioned the name of a place. He goes, Mike, don't even mention that place. I said, okay, I won't mention the place anymore. No problem. Never had a problem with it. But I could tell you stories that would end my video making career, but I don't do that. First of all, and I won't even mention who I will tell you that I could tell you stories, but I won't. Forget about these books you read about the mafia and all that crap. The mafia is very powerful, but it's not the almighty power that you think it is. This goes far deeper than the mafia. It goes into the Illuminati. But to know who was where and what and when, all you need to know is that they want you dead, they want you dead. Radiation is going into your head from your cell phones, from the depleted uranium bullets, from the guys who fire the bullets are dying, everybody's gonna be dead sooner or later. Suck it up. Take it like a man. And if you're a woman, or I'm half a man who acts like a woman, a.k.a. a sissy, then suck it up like a sissy. That's another part of being a woman I don't think I would like. Sucking on the things that are not of mine. But I like it the other way around. So, I mean, you kind of have everything. The world is not a perfect place. If it was a perfect place, it would be different. But you know, there's a lot of things that I know, but one of those things I don't know is a lot of things I know by Michael Fazio, and this is one of them, and that's one of them, and that's one of them, and these are the things that are on the dollar bill. And now I'm going to end this video. We're going to say goodbye to Mr. Obama. Look, there's Mr. Obama, right there. George Washington, first president of the United States, and Obama, the last president. And there are pictographs on the dollar bill that prove that. So let us say goodbye to the rider on the pale horse. But in case is, oh, Mr. Obama, what happened? You lose your head? Give us a little head, Mr. Obama. Here's a little head. Mr. Obama has a little head for us. There he is. He's riding on the DOD, baby. Ah! Obama, the rider on the pale horse. Give us a little head. Salamat. Thank you, Mr. Obama. And a God day to everybody from a Michael Fazio in the Philippines, baby. That's right. Oy vey.